Good morning, my friends. It's your friendly neighborhood PhD, Dr. Judd Burton. Welcome to another edition of the Beyond Report on this last Friday, January the 31st, 2020. Again, if you are enjoying the content, I would ask you to click a like, subscribe, and share, and even get involved in the comments. I've had an increasing amount of comments in the programs that I've been showing, so do feel free to leave a comment uh, after you view. Now, starting off with a little bit of Burton Beyond news. If you're in Lubbock, February 7th through the 9th, you'll definitely want to stop by the Fellowship Church and attend the Spiritual Warfare and Biblical Demonology seminar that Dr. Reid will be giving. There'll definitely be some good teaching there. Um, I've been uh, doing more videos. You may have noticed the recent installments of Sunday School X, dealing with vampires in the Bible, the recent Antiquity X on Nimrod and Santa Claus, and of late, the Quickclassics episode on the Minoans, which was the first in a sequence of Quickclassics episodes dealing with ancient Aegean civilization, and I plan to make a few little videos going all the way through the Hellenistic period of Greek civilization. So that's going to be interesting and fun and hopefully helpful to folks out there who want to avail themselves of that information. And there certainly are upcoming new episodes of these programs. I'll be making a video here pretty soon on the sort of a character sketch of Nimrod, following up with the last Antiquity X episode. And of course, the upcoming Quickclassics episode will deal with the Mycenaeans, and Sunday School X will be part two of the vampire series that I've been doing. So there's actually a lot going on in terms of the video content that I'm putting out. My plan is to make the X series, the Antiquity X and Sunday School X. My plan is to make those a little more pictorial in nature. In other news, my hometown just produced a promo video a la the local improvement community improvement organization, which is really, really well done. And I'll put a link in the description to that. So if you wanted a little pictorial guide of my hometown, where I hail from, it's a really great little video. And like I said, I'll put a link in the description. Now, in terms of wider news in the world, there's some interesting things going on. Not really paranormal news, but TRS, the Teacher Retirement System of Texas, seems to be making the wrong kinds of headlines these days. They've been under the microscope for their exorbitant rent, which seems to be, I think, totaling over $300,000 a month. I talked to a friend of mine the other day who lives in Austin, and she said that she works down the street from the building, and it's the nicest one in the area. So it's not the first time that TRS has been under the microscope. Texas policymakers and politicians over the last several years have sort of played fast and loose with some of the funds. Um, I suspect that, given that between that and the outlandish expenses that are coming to the fore, I wonder what state the pensions in TRS will remain in. I would not be surprised that in 10 or 20 years, it's going to be very difficult to draw full pensions earned, or perhaps even pensions at all, from TRS. Teachers out there might consider having your pensions managed under different auspices. That would just be my advice. It's certainly what I did. Um, Unfortunately, that is one in a laundry list of problems in the educational system in the state of Texas. Um, in other news, uh, there was a very interesting archaeological discovery recently in the Kurdistan region of Iraq, and it dates back to the time of Sargon II in the 9th and 8th centuries BC. It's a series of rock carvings of a number of gods that the Assyrians worshipped. Asher, of course, who was the namesake of the Assyrians, and some other Mesopotamian deities that are more generic and generalized to the four distinct societies of Mesopotamia. Gods like Sheen and Shamash are also represented, and they're riding in a procession on these mythical animals. Now that's interesting insofar as that it tells us a lot about the history of ancient Iraq and the biblical world, at large. But these finds here at this site are interesting because it's been over 200 years since the infancy of archaeology that rock carvings of this quality have actually been found. Not since the days of excavators like the late Henry Laird have these kinds of carvings been found. So this is a very significant find, and I'll put a link in the description for the article there. Our friend Dr. Michael Heiser has had his book, The Unseen Realm, made into a movie, which I understand debuted a couple of days ago. I myself have not seen it, but I'm sure that it's as spectacular and informative as the book is, and I look forward to seeing it and reviewing it, and I hope that you do too. In the news of the strange, there have been a few dogmen sightings. I guess this would fall under cryptids and perhaps even dark creatures or demons, depending on whether there's an actual supernatural element here. But there have been a number of dogmen sightings here in South Texas. These, from what I can tell, go back not only, I mean, there were definitely some last year, but they go back farther. And one of the most startling ones that I've seen that has to do with a couple of fishermen, and they actually caught this thing on video. It's quite remarkable. It doesn't look staged, but in short, the two gentlemen are fishing at one of the small lakes that pepper the Rio Grande Valley, and they notice what appears to be a dog on the opposite bank. And this thing stands up on its hind legs and walks back into the bush, essentially, much to the surprise and chagrin of these two gentlemen who are fishing. And I'll put a link in the description to that as well, and you can judge for yourself the veracity of that particular evidence. But again, folks, if you haven't figured it out, we live in a strange, weird world. But again, as our buddy Mike Heiser says on Fringe Pop, even though we do live in a strange world, our thinking doesn't necessarily have to be, and we can still attempt to quantify and categorize what we're seeing, even though in some cases it may defy such quantification. In closing, I would remind you that you can avail yourself of the 12-module, 12-class apprenticeship in biblical anthropology through the Institute of Biblical Anthropology at $200. And I'll keep this sale going until about February the 15th. I really can't keep doing it because the content is going to be expanding at some point. So if you want to take advantage of that, now is the time. Might make a good Valentine's Day present for somebody that you love who is interested in a better understanding of the biblical world. I'm also selling out the last of my limited edition red cover Nephilim dossier, so if you want a copy of that, now's the time to get it. I'll stop that sale also about the same time, February the 15th. As always, stay tuned. More and more things going on with Burton Beyond, as always. Already looking forward to the Sons of God conference. This will be the Sons of God Giants of Old 8 conference, and I'll keep you apprised of those dates and registry and whatnot. But as always, thank you very much for the growing interest in this channel. Click a like, subscribe, share, comment, and I'll see you on the flip side. Godspeed.